What was that conversation like when your mom sat you down and said, Andrew, you got a drug problem?
She sat me down and she was just like, God did not design you for this life. So I cracked this book open. I'm like sitting in my bed. It was propped up just like this. I had the book on my thing. And there was a chapter in there called Who's an Addict? When I was done with the chapter, I looked back. It was like the whole thing was highlighted.
So like,
it might have been like 3 lines that wasn't highlighted. Like my shit almost ran out of ink, you know. I'm just looking at the book. The resistance I carried my whole life about like who I am was like bubbling to the surface. It was a moment by myself where I just said to myself like, I'm an addict. All that resistance like legit flew out of my body. What's powerful is like I felt the Holy Spirit enter the room in that moment.
Let's talk about the real estate. You went from being addicted to drugs to starting over at 30.
Oh, 0, yeah.
Bro, you're dominating in real estate. You are very knowledgeable, almost like a savant, bro. Like, seriously. Could you drop the strategy behind buying a house for 79 cents?
So I mean, first, it's like I got that idea from your class.
So, what's up, y'all? This is another episode of the Champions Club. I'm your host, Sailor Brooks. I just want to say Happy New Year, Happy 2026. I got my boy Andrew Weis in the building, man. I appreciate you for joining the podcast, man.
Me, bro.
It's gonna be a dope conversation, for sure. But before we get started, this is something new that I'm introducing into the Champions Club podcast. So, this episode is brought to you by Jarritos. It's not just a drink, it's the drink. So I'm gonna put that to the side. And so they're not actually sponsoring the episode, but that's one of my favorite Mexican sodas to drink. And so my goal or my dream is if I just do it enough, eventually they'll sponsor me. And off script, you know, when we get off the camera, I'll tell you about a cool story about how I predicted a brand deal.
Okay.
That popped off, and it was like a strategic thing. But yeah, man, like I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna have Wingstop because I love Wingstop. So anything that I love,
bring it in.
I'm bringing it in.
Right,
you know,
natural alignment
for real. And then eventually, when it pop, they gonna sponsor me, and we gonna get to the money. But enough about me. So this is about you, man. So Andrew has a really powerful story, man. And I think what you're gonna talk about is the main reason why I started the Champions Club. I believe that our journey is something that helps us separate ourselves in this world. And when you share your story, it's healing for somebody else. So, man, let's just go ahead and just kind of jump into it. Let's dive right into it, man, because, you know, just kind of give people a quick recap, man. You're in the real estate space. You're killing it. You're here, you're local. But, you know, you wasn't always doing so well in life. And when you talked about, you know, you struggle with drugs and alcohol and different things like that, but you completely changed your life, man. And I think this conversation is going to hit somebody that needs to hear it, and so they can get on track and change their life. So you started at 11.
Yeah.
You started doing drugs at 11.
Yeah.
So walk me through that, man. Like, how did that even happen? Like, you know, how did that even get?
That's actually the question. How did you have access to drugs when you
at
were 11 years old?
Yeah.
You know, so I have an older brother, and then my best friend at the time had 3 older brothers. So some of them were even in high school and stuff. So believe it or not, it was around the environment. And you kind of get curious as to like the older brothers are cool. They're doing it. They seem to be having fun. Naturally a little rebellious by nature, so all these things kind of went into it, and then like just ended up like taking a little bit and trying it, and probably did it wrong, but I got the effect. And when I did that, it was like I was hooked immediately. I just love that feeling, and always from that point on would chase that feeling. Yeah, obviously, like as 11 years old, you don't have the time freedom to like just kind of be out and about, so it wasn't like I could do it every day right away, but it was like that feeling and that rush that I got, I would chase that feeling for the rest of my life until, you know, I got a change as an adult.
So your older brothers introduced you to, you know, drugs.
Yeah, inadvertently, they weren't like putting it in our face, but it's around. You smell it, you ask questions,
Yeah,
things like
kids
that.
is curious.
Exactly,
We gonna figure
for
out.
sure.
Yeah. So I mean, was this something that was going on in the family? Like were your parents doing drugs? Were your uncles and stuff like that, or they just picked it up, kind of, like you said, just going to school, the environment and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, no one in the family was like doing it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just like people being in high school or
yeah,
junior high even, but like when you're in junior high and have access to people in high school, like
Mm-hmm.
they're getting trickled down of like
yeah,
the influence from the older crowd and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So it was kind of like just wrong place, wrong time, I guess, when you have higher level people influencing others who are then influencing you,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just kind of around and available at that point, and then you try it and you kind of then convince them to like get you some for
yeah.
you and or use some of theirs, etc.
Would you say that if drugs is really pushed by influence, and when it comes to like with kids?
um, I don't know if it's pushed by it, but I think it's definitely a byproduct of that. Like, because you got to think somebody that gets their hands on it first, like, discovered that from somewhere. You
Yeah.
don't just, like, wake up and be like, drugs, but where'd you hear of drugs? What made you curious of that? Was it, an artist that you follow that talked about it? Was it a sibling that you really look up to and they found it? Did you see it online on nowadays, like maybe a YouTube content person did it and you thought it looked fun from how they were responding on it? So I'm not saying that like it is, but it's like definitely it plays a role when you see people that you admire doing it because even unconsciously you want to be like them.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
so,
a natural way to like emulate their behavior.
do you
And
feel like some kids out there, they want to be cool or popular? They just seem like the cool thing to do, and then they go try it, and
yeah, definitely. And for me, it's really no different than like when your favorite athlete is a kid has a sneaker and you go get a sneaker deal or whatever the popular clothing brand is at the time people go buy those clothes. It's the same thing. It's just obviously there's like a little bit more negative impact on like your mental health, your physical health, what it can lead to if you abuse it. So those are things that definitely can play a role.
so at what point do you feel like your your friends, family start to realize that you were on drugs?
Well, so I mean, pot, seventh grade because I actually got suspended for it.
Okay.
So I mean, it was like a big deal back then because of my age, and they gave me like the maximum suspension you could get without being expelled. So it was like a whole thing, like in
yeah,
town and
yeah,
all that, you
yeah.
know. So that was like their first awareness that I was kind of using some stuff. Then in high school, they were definitely aware of that. Um,
So you you,
I
you you
started
think your
drinking
teachers
in
and
high school.
principals was aware
Oh,
that you were
teachers
on drugs?
definitely were. Teachers definitely were, because some of them I had such like good relationship with. Like they would make jokes about how much I smelled and like
Yeah,
like
you
it
do
was
got those
kind of like
teachers.
yeah, it was more like a running joke that like I was like a known pothead even in high school, but I never got reprimanded for it when like I could have, but it just wasn't like that. I mean, I did by police, but not teachers.
So at what point? So I
But to answer, like when I was in my like mid to late 20s, my stepmom definitely started to notice. Like that's when I was using heavier stuff all the time.
yeah.
Because I wouldn't see her every day. I would see her more like holidays or because just where I lived, where they lived. But then when you see them once in a while, it's like at the gym. If you work out every day, you don't really see the gains on a day to day. But if you don't
Yeah.
see them for a while, but it's the same thing when you show up somewhere 20 pounds lighter than last time and you're unkept and like
Yeah.
you're kind of agitated and like
People gonna
off
start
the
feeling.
wall, like you start to look a little suspect and shit. And I think that something's going on, but
Yeah.
she didn't really like know how to approach it. My mom for sure knew, like, because at the end of the day, when you're around people and you're using hard drugs for extended periods of time, there's physical signs. There's like behavioral signs, like you might start getting twitchy or like some weird tick in your behavior, or like you're not showering as much, or like just basic things like you're not managing yourself. And then other things like I wasn't really working, or I work really low jobs, so it's like no motivation, and you just like slugging around, or you like you start dipping out for 5 days at a time, not like coming home to shower,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
change your clothes. Like there were signs,
Yeah.
So eventually it's like they start piecing it together. And my mom was really the first one that was like, dude, you got a drug problem.
Yeah, see, mama know. Yeah, she
Exactly.
set
And I was
you down.
like, hell no, I don't. Yeah,
Okay.
but she was really the first one that like identified and called me out on it. And
Yeah. So let's talk about that conversation with Mom Dukes, man, because mamas know things.
Yeah.
Because obviously they birthed you, they've been raising you, so they know your true self. What was that conversation like when your mom set you down and said, Andrew, you got a drug problem?
Well, there was a few different conversations.
Okay.
So the first one, it was more of like an argument and a fight. I'm trying to like, because at this time I'm living in her house, in like my mid-20s or whatever, late 20s, even just doing whatever the hell I wanted to do, causing all types of chaos. And just so when I would have irrational behavior, like there's a snowstorm and my car don't really work, and I'm trying to drive through it to go meet up with some chick or something to party. So like, hey, you like on drugs? Like you
Yeah.
got a drug problem, dude. Like you doing all types of doing too much, like
Yeah.
that don't make any rhyme or reason. And I would just get defensive. I was in massive denial, which is a sign of addiction. Like
Yeah.
denial is a huge component. So like I didn't like take it lightly. I was just so offended based on what I thought an addict was at that time. Later I would get educated on like what an addict actually is, and we can go into that later. But I would just scream, like I'm not a fucking addict. Like
Yeah.
who the fuck are you to tell me like this or that? And because I always thought it was just like the guy with the pick in his arm under a bridge, like begging for change. And granted, I wasn't that far away from that. I just kind of happened to have someone that was loving enough to let me stay in their house. And,
Right.
But I had like college degrees and stuff. Like I had a lot of friends. So there was all these things that like were present in my life or I had accomplished that wasn't in line with what I thought an addict was from like media or whatever
Right.
your exposure was to it at the time. I also had an intervention, so that was interesting because they actually they told me I was going to like my birthday dinner,
Okay.
and so my brother, me and him are driving up to my birthday dinner at my mom's. Dude, I'll never forget. We opened the door, and the first thing out of my mouth was, "I don't smell spaghetti," because it's like you have those meals that your mom cooked for like your whole life, and you just know the smell like permeating the kitchen. I walked in that house, and it just smelled like house. So it was like my mouth just blurted out, "I don't smell spaghetti," and that's like right away when I knew something was going on. Like I was like, "Oh," and I looked over, like my whole family, and like a family friend was like sitting on the couch. I still didn't really put it together, but they was like, "Man, sit your ass down. We gotta talk to you." And, it was just like all the movies. They had the letters, like they was reading them off, saying like, how much my drug use had impacted them, and like how I'm not the same person, and like they just want what's best for me, but like this path is gonna get me killed, and like how they miss like their having their brother, and it was really emotional because when you're drugging, you're actually numbing your feelings. And I remember like I actually got up to use the bathroom and went and like did some drugs in the bathroom because I had to numb like feelings were starting to. That's how deep it was. It was crazy, but then yeah, so we had a few experiences over time where she would just like keep trying to like talk to me about it, like keep trying to just help. And
So I was going to ask you about that because when we talked, you told me you burned every bridge,
oh yeah,
friends, family, but your mom, she was the last person, standing in your corner, and she believed in you. What was it a conversation that she had that changed you, like one of those conversations where she sat you down? Like, what was the breaking point, bro?
Yeah. So she did sit me down. You know, I remember one time she sat me down and she was just like, God did not design you for this life. Like, you are meant for so much more, and you have greatness in you, and you have light in you, and like, this ain't how your life was supposed to be. And she was just like, I believe in you, and I love you, and I know you're destined for great things. You know, unfortunately, at that time, that conversation didn't lead to
Yeah.
any behavioral change. But looking back, like, I can vividly remember sitting on the bar stools, like, in that house right off the kitchen, and her, like, sitting me down at night and just being like, dude, this ain't it. And this, like, you have blessings put on your life by God, and this ain't, you know, but little did we know I would end up making out for it, and like God took the worst thing about me and turned it to the best thing. And that's something only God can do. So it was all part of the path. But when you're going through it, and like, you know, one thing about addiction is like, I think my mom got more sick off addiction than I did. She was losing sleep, like she was losing it just from being so concerned as a parent. And like, anytime the phone would ring at night, wasn't sure if like it was a fucking call about like your son's dead or
Yeah.
in jail, shit like that. You know, because I would just disappear for days at a time. But the conversation that really like made the biggest difference was like, because at one point I was not allowed to like be in the house no more, and then she didn't really know like what I was doing, but she knew I didn't have anywhere to go, so she wasn't really sure like how I was making it through. I don't know what's going on, but I know it ain't good, you know,
You're
because
right.
I know you ain't at home,
Right.
and I know you ain't got no job, so like I don't know how you getting through, but
Yeah.
she just called me and she was like, basically like, you can come back home, but the only way you can is if you commit to going to like meetings for drugs, you know, like Narcotics Anonymous. And at the time, dude, to the very bitter end, I never thought I had a problem. I never thought, like, some people really messed up. They're like, oh, I know I'm an addict and I got to get help. And, like, they're all, like, down about this. Oh, no, my life was, like, one big party and shit. And, like, I didn't think I had a problem. I knew, like, things weren't right because I never had money. I was always hustling, like, but it'd be like some days I'd have a few $100s, other days I'd wake up with zero or like $20, and like you trying to figure out like, all right, I got no money or like no gas in my tank. This is the day where you put like $5 in your car, like you could drive around for a day off that shit, you know. So I'm like, well, I chop up 5 for this. I gotta get a pack of squares. I gotta get some dope, or how many? I got some pills. I could sell that. And it's like, do I need to eat today? And then like you start like putting these things of like, well, if I eat, it might cost $10, and that's half of what I have. And like, so you're making all these like life choices,
You
but
try to
it's
make it
like,
stretch, man. Yeah.
but you're in straight survival mode, but you
Right.
don't realize you're in survival mode. Like,
'Cause to
looking
you, that's
back
just
on
life.
it, it's just, yeah, that's just what life looked like. But these are like real basics,
Yeah.
obviously. Like, you know, it's like, do I have to pay for a motel room that night? If not, like, can I sleep in my car? Do I got a buddy's couch? So it's like, when she offered me to come home, I said yes, basically just to like manipulate having a place to stay. Because my mindset was like this: I know she's gonna cook me a couple meals a day, and I know where I'll be able to go to sleep at night.
Right.
And like looking back on it, I think what happened was like my spirit was just tired. You know, I was in those situations. Time is so skewed. I can't really say how long, but I know like life had not been good for a real long time, and I kind of saw like, even though I had no intention of like stopping like the drug use, I just knew that like this would be some type of reprieve of like having some basic needs in my life. So I decided to go home, and that actually ended up being like the starting point of the turning point for the rest of my life.
So let me ask you a question, bro. You mentioned, your brothers inadvertently got you introduced to drugs,
Yeah.
right? Got you started at 11. At any point whether you is now or between you getting clean, but at any point, did you have a conversation with your brothers, man? Like, you guys got me
Well,
into
so
this,
I
or
got one brother. My best friend had multiple brothers. So
got
I
you?
got one, but like not really because we would be partying together. Like as I got older, like
y'all,
high school, we went to
yeah,
college together. We lived in the city together. Like even after that, like we was doing some type of something. Even if it was
yeah,
just like drinking or like pills or like there's all types of stuff we would do. But it was like I'm not. I think he abused things, but I don't think he was never like addict mode like me. But it was like you can't blame somebody for something that happened 20 years ago when it wasn't like, hey, try this or I'm gonna kick your ass. It was just like a kid being curious because he saw someone he looked up to doing something.
yeah, and that's
So it's
really kind
like
of what I
I
was
can't
thinking. Yeah,
really put that on him. Like, yeah, he played a role, but it wasn't like an intentional role. So like I'm not about to go make you feel like shit and blame you like instead of taking responsibility for my actions.
but did y'all ever have a conversation like, maybe he was like, hey, man, I probably should have been better in certain areas, knowing that you were looking up to me, or like, did you ever have any conversations like that?
Nah, because I'm not really sure that he's ever linked like
Right.
going back that far. I think his memory would be more of like what we did in high school and college and as adults together, and that's like anyone's choice. I don't think he might not even know that like there was ever any level of like influence, like not on purpose, but just like influence nonetheless. I don't think he's even aware of that.
Got you.
Because I wasn't even aware of it till my journey on recovery and got some like clear-headed, like deep introspective reflection on it.
So okay, so quick question. You said that you didn't know that you had a problem. Why didn't
All the signs were there.
like, bro?
All the signs.
So it's crazy because what I tell people, like, and I think people they start judging, right? Like whether people are doing drugs or whatever, right? Like, in my opinion, the same person, because God says all sin is created equal.
Yeah.
Right. So the person who's an alcoholic
100%.
can't judge the person with a drug addiction.
Yeah, the only people that rank the level of sin is human beings.
It's humans. That all of it is the same, right? The person that's struggling with porn is no different than a person with a drug addiction. You see what I'm saying? To me, everybody has an addiction.
Sin is sin according to Scripture.
Exactly. And so what I look at is like, okay, if everybody's doing the same thing, you can't judge, right? Because the person who's a woman beater, you see what I'm saying? You just as bad as the person with a drug addiction. It's all the same, right? And so what I look at is like, if somebody's getting defensive about something, that is a clear indicator that you have a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go press somebody and be like, hey man, you got a problem with this, and they get mad.
No, I don't. What are you talking about?
It's like,
How dare you?
yeah, bro. It's like, yeah, no. See, that
that's a
lets you
clue.
know that you have a problem.
Yeah.
And so, like, you said that even when you, and I'm not laughing because it's the situation,
Yeah,
but it's
no,
kind
I
of
got
funny.
you.
But like, when you said that, yeah, you was going home, but you didn't have any intention of stopping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what made you actually aware that this is a problem? Like, what was that moment like? Because up until this point, you like, yeah, no, I don't. Like.
Correct. Yeah, it's a great question. So when I started going to those meetings, because that was the agreement, I had to go to these meetings and I'd be able to stay in the house. I'm like, yeah, I'm just doing my fucking part. Like,
Right.
I never said I'm going to stop doing anything. I said I'm going to go to the meetings, But dude, first, like, I always joke because, like, even when I was using, I was spiritual. Like, I was very into, like, metaphysics and, like, energy and, like, leadership and, like, transformation. I just always had, like, one foot in each world. So I always joke, like, damn, if y'all told me recovery was a spiritual program, I would have made it sooner,
Yeah.
No one told me that shit. I just thought it was some crap, like, losers went to, No one told me like what the actual program was about. So when I got there, first like complete strangers would share things about like how they thought and behaved and how things happened made them feel or how they did things that they swore they would never do in their life and like just the impact of drugs and like people were sharing. I didn't share it first. I was like, I'm not. I'm just. Dude, I was in the back corner of that shit,
You just doing your part. Just
detention.
going.
Like I'm just here because I gotta be, you know.
Right.
But I'm listening, and these complete strangers from all walks of life, most of them much older than me, was sharing shit that was like resonating with me, and I still wasn't ready to like admit nothing, you know, like.
Yeah.
Like when you say, "Oh, I'm Andrew," at first I went in like I'm Andrew, like ain't no admittance, ain't nothing coming after that. Y'all give my name only, you know.
So was that what was? Is it really like the movies? Like, let's say if you like, hey, I'm Andrew. Everybody like, hi, Andrew.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just like I'm Andrew. I'm like, hey Andrew. Like that's how it goes. But what the real difference was, someone gave me a blue book, and that's basically like AA has a big book. This is a blue book, and it's kind of like almost like the Bible for Narcotics Anonymous. It's like your foundational piece of literature that goes deep into like not just addiction but the recovery process. Because there's been a lot of books written about like the topic of addiction, but none about actual recovery. This is written by recovering addicts for recovering addicts, but it does go deep into the system. So like the difference for me was someone gave me this book, because it was like, do you want it? Like, how much is it? You know, like all nervous and shit. Like it was like $9. I'm like, like, dude, I went into my first meeting. I had 2 coins in my pocket. Like that's how broke I was. So like, I didn't care. Shit, $9 felt like $900. Like, I definitely ain't buying it on this shit. I'm uncertain of.
Right.
But so he gifted it to me, and you know, before I got clean, like the drugs I was taking would have me be up for like 3, 4, 5 days at a time. Like I would not just like do a normal like wake up, live a day, go to sleep, wake up. Like dude, minimum 48 hours of awakeness, minimum. Sometimes 5 days and like just out in the world zombie. But it was like once I got clean, it was like dude, my sleeping patterns and my brain had to go so rewired and like so it was it took me about 9 months to get on regular sleeping pattern. Like go to sleep at like 11 o'clock, wake up at 8 o'clock. But anyways, I've probably been going to these meetings for like 2 weeks or so. It's like the middle of the night. I can't sleep and shit. I'm just laying, tossing and turning. So I cracked this book open. I'm like sitting in my bed. It was propped up just like this. I had the book on my thing, and I had like the flashlight on my phone with one hand, and then I had a pen or like a highlighter in the other hand. So I was like to like underline or highlight like the good shit that really hits, you know, when I'm reading. And there was a chapter in there called "Who's an Addict," right? And chapter 3, I believe. But when I was done with the chapter, I looked back. It was like the whole thing was highlighted.
So like
legit,
you
there might have been like
that
3 lines that wasn't highlighted. Like my shit almost ran out of ink, you know. And but bro, it was like I'm probably like 3, 4 in the morning, still as can be. And it was like I'm just looking at the book, and all of a sudden I feel like this energy just like building up inside my body, and it was like the best way I could describe it. It was like the resistance I carried my whole life about like who I am and what I'm not was like bubbling to the surface, and it wasn't something that my mom could make me say or a point she could get me to. It wasn't anything the people in those rooms could get me to. It was a moment by myself with nobody asking me to say or do anything, where I just said to myself, like, I'm an addict. And dude, it was like my entire body got like pierced with needles. Like all that resistance, like legit flew out of my body. I felt the biggest release come off me. And then what's powerful is like I felt the Holy Spirit enter the room in that moment. And then like it filled in me all the space that the resistance was held out on. It was like the most profound spiritual experience I've probably ever had in my life. And I just sat there and like I really got to be with it, because in the literature they go into like, dude, an addict don't make you a bad person. It don't make you this or that. It's like you just have a thinking disease, and like you act out in ways that you wouldn't normally when you use drugs on them. And it was like, it really took like the moral deficiency out of the equation, right? Because we're kind of like educated through media or friends or family, like incorrectly, I may add, that like if you're an addict, like you're a piece of shit or this, that, or other. And you might act like that, but ultimately that's not who you are at your core.
Right.
So it's like when you actually just separate like the behavior from what the disease is, like, and I got to really get that, like, having this disease doesn't make me anything outside of like somebody with a disease, like just like somebody with a cancer or somebody with that's diabetic. Like you just have something that you need to treat.
Yeah.
And then in the book, you know, they go into like how to attack like addiction, and like if you do like XYZ, no person in the history of recovery has ever relapsed. So I was real interested in that. So I'm like, all right, so all I gotta do is get busy doing this for, you know, the rest of my life. But it's like, it's not the end all be all. Like it gave me hope, and it gave me like a window of like, it ain't what I thought it was. And now that I know what this shit really is, I can go step into that space and get busy on like actually having a life.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy, bro, because one thing I think that you mentioned that's huge, you said that like the media that's out there that portrays addicts is wrong. That's facts. All the media that they push out there for addicts wasn't made by people who had a drug addiction. You see what I'm saying? Like, for example, you watch movies, you will see, you know, like the comic drug addict on the corner. You see
Yeah, it's
Friday.
all like
you see Ezel.
stereotype.
It's
like,
stereotype, right? Like, you know, Ezel from Friday, you know, some guy here, you know. So, like, it's some comedy and different things into it. But it's like the person who made this and is putting this out there, 9 times out of 10, they never was on drugs like that. You know
what they
I mean?
really
like,
don't touch on is that like nobody started there. Something happened in people's lives, oftentimes hurt, pain,
trauma,
guilt, or shame. Because like I mentioned earlier, drug use at that level is a numbing mechanism.
Right.
You're just trying to tune out what you don't want to experience and deal with. So it's unfortunate. Like, you know, you drive by, you see someone under the bridge. They're there. They're under that bridge.
Right.
And they're on drugs, like 100%. But it's like, what's the backstory that got somebody there? And I'm not saying, like, it makes them good or bad or anything. I'm
But
just
they
saying
didn't start
that, like,
at that point.
Yeah, everybody has to, like, go through some pretty heavy shit to get them to those points.
Yeah, and then I think the other thing that you said that really is standing out to me is that doing drugs or being addicted to drugs doesn't make you who you are. You know, that's just something that you're doing, you know, and you might act out of certain things because of that, but that's not who people are at their core.
Correct.
I got one of my big bro, Rob, he told me a male role model in his life was named BT. And everybody, his family, everybody loved this man, right? And he was a stand-up dude, you know? He just did drugs, right? And so, but they never looked at him any different because when he came around, he treated people with respect, man. You know, when he came around, he was good to people. He just did drugs.
Yeah.
And so we do have to start looking and trying to separate, you know, those things because, you know, like, again, somebody might be an alcoholic, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes alcoholics get a bad rap. I know one of my uncles, he a crazy alcoholic. Good dude, though.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? He treat people good with respect. And so it's like, you know, I just wish that there was more things out there that talked about, you know, like separating people and how you should deal with stuff like that.
Just having like a honest and informed conversation. Just because they're nice don't mean like, hey, you should probably still put the bottle down and get help. But it's like you said, there can be a lot of misunderstanding of what it is and what it ain't.
Yep, absolutely. So let's go ahead and switch gears, man. So, you know, the Holy Spirit enter your spirit, right? And so, and I do believe that this is why environments are important, because environments are important for growth and change. So 100%. You started going to the classes just like the Marshawn Lynch. I'm here so I don't get fined, right? Like,
exactly.
Like you going just because it was the stipulation of the deal that you
needed that 3 hots in the cot, and that's what I got. Dude, when I went home, I wasn't greedy with some king bed. It was literally like the pull-out cot. You know, I had to fold it up when I left the room, unfold it when I needed sleep. Like, as a 30-year-old adult sleeping on a damn cot, and like, your aunt's house that your mom lived in the
Yeah.
spare room. Like, that shit's tucked in the corner of the dude. It was, but it was exactly what I needed. It
It's
was
what you needed.
humbling, and
Yeah.
the environment. Like, I kind of interrupted what you were saying, but
Well, I mean, like the environment of going to the classes.
Yeah.
Right. You go to the classes and you're there and you're soaking things in and you listen and then you went off on your own. You spoke with your mouth. I'm an addict. Your life began to change, but it's based off the environment. Now you're starting to turn things around because you said that resentment got released off of you. Do you remember, like, was there the first couple of days that you were clean? Was it the first week or the first month? What was that like for you?
hardest shit I ever did in my life.
Okay.
The hardest.
Yeah.
Because, dude, I got clean when I was 30. I started smoking when I was 11. Now, I had a couple, like, off days when, like, you might be sick or, like, this, that, or the other. But, like, for all intents and purposes, I put something in my body that altered my mind and my mood for 19 years straight, starting at a very young age when my brain wasn't even fully developed. Went through a divorce with my parents when I was using. Like, there was a lot of shit that just never got processed and developed. Your whole way of existing is like you got to get high just to start working. You got to get high to go out and have fun. You can't have fun without being high or on something, like how to socialize, how to do anything. Like, everything revolved around being high. So when you take that out, it was like just a massive like hole. But the biggest thing was like you actually start feeling your feelings. So you have like feelings, you don't even know like what to label them. It's just like all flooding in at once. Your mind's going crazy because, addiction is obsession and compulsion. So you're just obsessing about using drugs all day, every day because, like, your body's kind of, like, in survival mode of, like, you're detoxing, you're cold sweating. Like, you're just a freaking wreck. And it's, like, you trying to just, like, get through. Like, there was days where, like, they say just get through today. The next day is a new day. It's like there's days I had to get through the minute of like
Yeah.
And for me, like, I'm so blessed. Like, my environment when I got clean was exactly what I needed, and by that I mean I had no job, I had no priorities, and I had no obligations. So I could literally sit my ass in that guest room until it was time to go to a meeting, take my ass to that meeting, and come home. And I started working out after a little bit, started reading a lot of TV, because I didn't trust myself going back in society because I was in the same area that I was partying in. It took me 9 months to go back into society
After you got clean?
to start putting my other pieces of life together, because it was like I had good support and like people saw I was like committed, but then like no one pushed me on it. It just kind of came to me. It was like, all right, this is great, and like I'm not like brand new anymore. Like, you're still new for a while in recovery, but it's like, all right, I'm 9 months in. Like, I kind of got to start looking at the future of like, what am I going to do in my life? Like, when you first coming off the street, like, no one's pressing you about like, what are you going to do? It's like all hands on deck just to like stay clean and like get some type of like foundation. But eventually it's like, you got to start like figuring it out. So I ended up, how I reinserted myself was like, I started going to the library. And I told you, it took 9 months to get my brain reprogrammed. At that time, I still was not. So my commitment was, because I had started doing real estate even when I was using drugs, but I never passed my real estate license test. I'd done like the class section. So when I found out like I could still get my license, like basically I had a whole year or so, like I was in the window where I could just go take this and be in the game. So I was like, that's my window. I always felt like real estate was something I flipped a few houses, but like flipping houses as a drug addict, like, didn't go that great. I know, I know that's shocking, but like it didn't go as planned. I will say everyone got their money back. Nobody died. I almost did a few times, so did some other people, but no one died and everyone got paid back. But anyway, I felt really like I was up to something and the drugs got in the way of my execution. Like I had unfinished business with real estate. But at that time, like I didn't have the resources to like raise capital anymore. So I'm like, let me just do this real estate agent thing because I still like being in real estate. So I went to this library. I was like, I'm going to get up at 9 a.m. every morning, and I don't care what time I fell asleep the night before. If it's 5, 6 a.m., getting up at 9, I'm going to that damn library. And that's what I did. And the first day, I lasted 15 minutes before I nodded out on that book. And I woke up and took my ass home. And then I went back the next day at 9 o'clock. And I got about 45 minutes of studying in. And I just started, like, each day developing the muscle to wake up at 9 o'clock, which sounds funny now. I'm up at 5 every day. But, like, at that time, waking up at 9 was, like, that was a breakthrough for me. Not just because of when I slept, but just the lifestyle. There was, like I said, there's no obligation of, like, you wake up when you wake up. But I was at that library every day for 90 minutes, and I just started reintegrating myself into society. Then I was there for an hour, then an hour and a half, and then, like, after a little bit, then I would have lunch with somebody from, like, a meeting or something, you know. And I just started, like, getting comfortable, like, associating myself back into society.
That's dope, bro. Man, first, I'm proud of you, man. That's dude. First, that's amazing, man. Because I'm sitting here, and it's like, almost, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like things always. It's like after you complete one challenge, it's the next thing up and the next thing up, and you like, well, damn, I just got clean. Now I got to do something else already. But it's like, you know, you just kept accepting the challenge and showing up. Again, the environment, the library, man, because I'm assuming, like, I'm pretty sure you were studying for your real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the test. And it's like, man, like, that mentality is a winner's mentality. Like, bro, yeah, I just beat this, and that was really hard to beat by itself.
I wasn't even beating. I was still in that
Well,
stuff,
still in
you're
it,
in the game.
and you accepted other challenges, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, sometimes people, they make excuses, and like you said, you know, they might procrastinate, but it's like, man, it's either going to do it or you're not going to do it. Like, your support system did everything that they could, but it's like the decisions you make. You know, you were highlighting the book. You confess with your mouth. You go out there. You show up. But it's like you have to do it. It's like, you know, they say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. Like, bro, you have to make the decisions to take the step and to keep stepping. And like to hear you say that and like you laughing about it and you being able to, like, bro, this is dope. You see what I'm saying, man? So I'm just proud of you. So you passed your real estate test.
Yeah, well,
right?
barely, so you get 4 chances, right?
Okay.
Pass.
Okay. Yeah.
The first one, I failed the hell out that shit. Bro, I was so confident going in because I'd done my, like, reintegration back into society. Like, I'd done all the practice tests. I was feeling good as hell. I failed the fuck out that class, that test. And they was like, nope. So then, like, so you get 4 chances. So back to the drawing board. I went and studied.
Wait, no, do you get 4 chances, period?
Yeah, like, so
or
you
that
get 4
year?
chances to pass the state exam. If you fail it 4 times, you got to start, like, the real estate class over in, like, the class portion.
Okay.
And, like, so you're not done, but, like, I mean, I wasn't trying to go through all that again. So I go back the second time, and I fail one portion because they have, like, a national and a state portion. I pass one, fail the other. So now the next time I go, I only have to take the portion I didn't pass. So I'm like, I got this. Bro, failed again. I was never a test taker, like, in school. Like, I could always finesse my way through something. I was never, like, a study out the book kind of guy.
So were you feeling discouraged each time, or were you feeling like, oh, you know what? Like, because some people, it's weird. Like, if you fail one part, or if you fail, you're like, all right, I'll go get them next time. Then you notice, like, okay, I didn't fail as bad. I'm making progress. Like, were you, like, cup half empty or cup half full?
A little bit of both, but, like, you know, one of the big parts of recovery was bringing God into your life. I had asked him to take over my life in step 3. That's in recovery. It's like, that's when you ask for a higher power of your understanding to like basically live out the will he has for your life and to take
Gotcha.
care of you.
So the recovery is a step process.
Yeah, there's 12 steps in recovery.
What are the 12 steps to
Come
recovery?
on. I mean, one, I might butcher these a little bit.
No, all right, to the best of your memory,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, one is like you got to admit you got a problem.
Which you did that in chapter 3.
And that you're powerless over your problem. 2, you got to believe that there's like a power greater than you out there and that they can help you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really get into like God. Some people call it God, but they just don't want people to feel like, because a lot of people have resentment towards God when they come. So they don't want anyone to have any, so they say it's just something greater than you.
Yeah.
So there's something greater than you and it can help you with your shit. The third one is you turn your will and your life over to the care of God or your understanding. And believe that he can help you with that, which is funny because I can turn my life over, but let me take care of my will. You know what I mean? Like the will and the life's a little harder that I still got to practice. 4 is I believe you make like a list of like your moral deficiencies and like your defects of character, and then you got to be willing to like address those basically. Then 5 is, I think, like, you do address your deficiencies. See, I'm looking bad now. I'll be going to meetings still. I can't remember. I'm going to one tonight. But then there's one, like, you make a list of the people you wronged, and you got to be willing to make amends to them.
That's huge.
Then you actually do the amends. One is, I mean, you can Google this. It's a whole spiritual process, and like, because if you just go to a meeting, they say like, and don't use, that's like abstinence from drugs, but the actual healing comes from the 12 steps. That's like the transformation.
Dope.
So circling back now to, I'm going into my 4th test.
Your 4th test.
And bro, I'll never forget this shit because I'm sitting it was at this H&R block off Governor's Highway, and I'm sitting in there, the H&R block's right there. And I just remember before I went in, I was like, I just prayed out loud to God. I was like, I didn't even plan it. It just overtook me. I was like, dude, I know this is what like I see for my life. Like I see a future in real estate and I feel called to do this. But if this ain't what you want me to do, then don't let me pass this shit. Like,
right,
that's serious. Like
facts, yeah.
Separating like my will ain't always your will. And like even though I want this shit really bad, it's really all I had. Like it was like the only straw to grasp at after getting clean. Like there was like, let's just say there was a resume gap on my employment. I wasn't just like showing up anywhere like getting interviews and shit. So it was like I really saw, and
to you this is
the only way.
Yeah,
there was no plan B.
No plan B, right?
And I still said, if you don't want this for me, don't allow me to pass this test. But if you do, please control my mind and work through it to give me the information I need to pass this test. And so I went in after I prayed and I took the test. Bro, they don't like, when you hit enter on that last thing, they don't tell you your results. You got to like do this like scared ass walk up to the front desk where they're like, name, and then they're going to like print out your results and shit, and they looking at it, but like they're not like frowning or smiling, so you don't know like what's on that shit. They like hand it to you. And I was looking, it said pass, and like I went in the car and like, bro, what the H&R block was across the street from a $40 a night motel I used to sleep at.
Wow.
And it was like I could literally look at that building, which is now closed, from where I had my results in my hand. And it was like, I just started bawling in the car.
That's amazing, man.
But what I found is just like, you got to be willing to say this ain't it if it ain't what God wants for you. Even if it's what you want.
You know, what's so crazy is because when you explaining that to me and telling me that story, bro, sometimes God will let you fail so you can come to him. So when you do make it, you know it ain't no other reason but God.
Well, dude, so you're so right on this. Like, that's why some people be like wishy-washy or something, like, you know, about God's impact in their life, or like, was this God? Hey, that's their story. My story is, I got no, like, it is as black and white as can be. Like, when Andrew had the wheel, I had no money, no car, no relationship.
Yeah.
Family didn't fuck with me, no job, like, no
Yeah.
business, no significant other. Like, dude, all I had was, like, purple scabs on my face from, like,
Yeah.
narcotics coming out my pores. That's about all I had. And a bad body odor. And when I brought God into my life, even for a short time period, I had some recovery. I had met some new people. My family was slowly like letting me back into their lives. I was on a pursuit of a career for the first time in my life. I have freedom in my thoughts and my behaviors. I wasn't controlled by drugs. And this was just a short time period. And like now I know everything that's like compounded over that. You know, like talk about like money compounds, so does energy and so does behavior, you
That's
know?
true.
And so it's like all the things that, you know, I don't, when I say the things I have, people will think I mean material. There are things like that. But I mean like self respect. I have confidence. Not fake confidence that I showed up masking my insecurity because I fucking was in my 20s and didn't have a job or any money. I know real confidence. I know who I am and I know the difference I can make for people. My word means something. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I can honor my word. People come to me for advice. Like, I'm dependable. Like, these are things that I've gotten through the recovery process. It's not just the family, the house, the car, the trips, the business, shit like that. Like, that's all great, but it's like when you know you were a piece of shit and then you're not, and you know it's because God intervened in your life, and like they say in scripture, like that drop of blood, you know, will transform your whole heart. Help me, and I still don't have things I'm working on, but it's like I'm fundamentally just a different person than I once was.
That's awesome, man. So at this point, how long have you been clean, bro?
Today's January 5th, so next tomorrow will be 10 years and 8 months.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Look at that, man. Look at God. Won't He do
Look
it?
at God.
Come on, God.
But God.
Yeah. So
yeah, I got no qualms over like, you know, God's impact in my life.
yeah, it was Him. Yeah.
Because like, yeah, when I told Him like take my will and my life over, that's when shit started moving.
Dope, man. So let's talk about the real estate. So you passed the test, you got into real estate, and from what I've been seeing, like on your social media, bro, you are you you are very knowledgeable, almost like a savant, bro. Like seriously, like when I watch
Appreciate that.
when I watch your stuff, I'll be like, how come other real estate agents aren't making content like that, like the stuff that you talk about? What was the video? How you got a house for like
79
79
cents,
cents or something like that? Like, bro, I watch this stuff and I'm looking at it and it's like, bro, you're dominating in real estate, man. So just talk to me about that process. Like, you started to learn, you started to grow, and now, you know, I look at you as like, oh, that's Andrew, the freaking real estate savant. But like, again, people don't always start at that point. What was your real estate journey like, bro?
Well, I said I flipped 2 houses when I was still using drugs because I saw like real estate as a means of making more money than I was making currently. After I got into real estate, doing sales and stuff, but I always had that desire to get back into investing, and it took about 5 or 6 years of being in real estate full time. Me and Alexandra, you know, my partner, we got into real estate. She had done some real estate investing with her ex-husband,
Yeah.
and then we, you know, did some together since then, and just embarking on that journey. And like, dude, I still remember when I posted, like when I did my first flip, like when I was clean, the first thing I said was, I always knew I'd be here, because when I got clean, I said I will be flipping houses again. I will be investing in real estate again. I don't know when, because my resources in life are different than they were when I was doing it, but I'll be back there. I got unfinished business. And when I did that first house, it was like a promise fulfilled to myself. And it was like deeply spiritual experience.
So, you talked about basically You know, you were surviving. You know, you're on drugs, you're surviving. You know, you're trying to make money stretch, and you're calculating $5 here, $5 here, right? And one thing I told one of my
Doing
friends,
math they ain't teach me in school.
right? Yeah, like, and sometimes the math don't be mathing, right?
Nah.
One thing I told one of my friends, bro, I was like, you know, because he's always, his parents was rich. He been, you know, been rich, and I was like, bro, people in poverty don't call poverty poverty. They call it life.
Yeah.
It's just life, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
But at what point did you realize I'm not surviving anymore? I'm winning.
I mean, honestly, it's not even actually where people would think. Because in recovery, a big component of that is when you become self sufficient. So, what self sufficient looks like is you can pay your bills on your own from working. And yeah, like, so I when I became self sufficient, I mean, my self sufficiency now looks different than it was back then.
Right.
But back then, it looked like I was renting a room from a friend who had a condo for like $200.
Yeah.
I had a $250 car note, and I had very minimum bills. I wasn't like traveling like I was, but I paid my phone bill. I had like some office bills through real estate that I had to pay, like agent dues and shit like that. But it was like everything that came my way, I didn't have to go ask my dad for money. I didn't have to ask my mom for money. I didn't have to ask nobody for anything. I could just go to my bank account, which, dude, I had Fifth Third when I got off the street because I had fucked over every bank in town. They was the only ones that would accept me. So I said I went to Fifth Third. Same thing, like all of what I just said, that self-sufficiency is a God thing. Like, I don't want to get off track, but like when I was staying at that house, my mom was in my aunt's. Like, I'm selling the house. Like, y'all been here for 2 years. Like, you know, I bet she really blessed us both with a space to like heal and get on our feet. But she's like, it's over, like whatever. So like and she's like, I'm selling the car because I was driving her car. So as long as you can pay insurance. So it was like, in 30 days, I had to get a place to live and a car, but I still had no fucking money and no credit. And I mean, like, dude, my credit was trash. I mean, I was working with like a 480 and like $0 in a bank account that I barely even got open.
Yeah.
But God, again, bro, like my mom connected. She knew somebody that owned a Kia dealership. That was the only chance I had. I went out there. I'll still never, dude, this shit was so funny. Like, the best negotiating tactic is when you truly are dead serious, because like I was like trying to negotiate this car and they kept trying to get me like, oh, if you just put this amount down, and I'm like, bruh, it don't matter like who you bring out here, because you know they was like they can't get you in the negotiation. So then like the next dude come out the curtain like the Wizard of Oz. they each trying to bring like the next level of guy and like renegotiate. Like,
Right.
all right, y'all not understanding what I'm saying. I have $0 to my name. Like, I cannot physically put a down payment on this car. Like, so it don't matter what you offering. Like, there's a zero coming. Like, and bro, so they called. There was one bank willing to lend on me.
Yeah.
Dude, they lent me a $10,000 car at 25% interest rate. But I had my Kia Forte and I was out that bitch. So I had wheels all of a sudden. Like, even at 25%, it was $250 payment. Like, I could afford it. I mean, it was a terrible rate, but they're like, this dude has a 480 with $0.
Right.
So like, you know, we gotta figure this shit out. Like, but that was a God thing. And then, you know, at rent, I got no down payment. Because I was like doing real estate, but I was not making money at the time, you know.
Did you learn real estate yourself, or did you have like a mentor?
I mean, once you get in, I went with Keller Williams. That's where my license. They got a lot of like onboarding and training. So they'll teach you through the trainings, and then you also just got to be in the field and like experiences. The best training. But I didn't have money for down like first month security, no credit. So I'm still stressing. And then like one of my friends was like, she had one room, she rented the other two. She like, one of the rooms just opened up, like no security, no credit. I'm like, what's the address? Like, I'm there. You know, so it's like in 30 days, I had wheels in a place, which was like based on like what my shit said on paper, I had no business like realistically having either. But it was like another God thing. But that's when like the self-sustainability came in, and I was like, I didn't feel like I made it anywhere, but I felt like probably the most fulfilled, just because like as you get more, it's cool, but you're already self-sufficient. For me, that was the biggest jump, because I went from like having nothing and like borrowing and begging or like surviving to like, I might be poor, but I'm self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah.
a difference. Like I was actually empowered, and I didn't have anything because I was doing it for myself for the
right.
first time in my entire life. I was doing it for myself.
Man, dude, that's crazy. So you went from being addicted to drugs to starting over at 30.
Oh, zero, yeah.
You know, from nothing, starting over
No
from nothing at 30
no.
to freaking buying a house for like 79 cents. Okay, can we touch on that, bro?
Yeah.
Could you drop the strategy behind buying a house for 79
Yeah.
cents?
So I mean, first, like it's like I got that idea from your class, like,
Yeah.
because I actually shot that video the day of your class, and you
Okay.
say you gotta do the hook.
Yeah.
You know, so like some people are like, oh, like what'd you really buy it for? Like, so I bought that. The 79 cents was the cost it took me to get an envelope, a stamp, and put my mailer in there. I have my own little letter that I do. The house was bought using a private lender of mine's money, who covered the purchase and the renovation. So I'm actually in the house for $0. The only thing I paid for was the letter that owner received.
Yeah.
And that's how I bought it for 79 cents.
So is that a strategy? Like the house had like some kind of liens on it or something like that? Or
That one was just somebody had inherited it. They lived there for a while. It needed repairs. They couldn't afford it. And then the owner was in a relationship, and they wanted to move in. So, but the house was too small for them to move in. So she had a lot of motivation of like, I can't fix my house up. I need the cash to go somewhere else. So it kind of worked out. And it's crazy, because I sent them letters out, and those are like half duplexes, and I actually own the one connected to it. So it really worked out.
Yeah, that's down there like a monopoly, bro. You just
We got 4 on that street right now, and then I got my buddy 2 more in that area.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
So
I did a video on that too, of like why it's important to, like I said, why we actually real estate investors play Monopoly in real life.
yeah, so I watched the video.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, bro. When I'm watching content, I love how you giving away game. You know,
Appreciate that.
because one, I talk about this too in a couple other podcasts that I did, but it's like when you gatekeep, you actually stop yourself from making more money, because I feel like a lot of people do not. They have this information and they hold it all, but if you would like, for example, like let's say it's 10 people in a room and they want to learn from you. They are real estate agents. Some people will not actually teach that class. They don't want to teach other people what they know. Why would I give you my strategies and my bro, you the source. Once they get the information from you and they do what you say and it works, they're gonna come back to you.
Yeah.
Right? So now not only are you making money from, your real estate clients, but you also making more money from people who do what you do and you want to teach them.
Sure.
There's marketing people, branding, all the kind of stuff that take my classes, bro. I don't care. I'm the source.
Yeah.
Because once you go do what I say do and it works, why even go out there and start searching for all this other stuff? Because people pay for speed. People know, all right, if I take sales class,
people that are actually like up to stuff, like time is money.
Yeah.
So they want to accelerate that speed as quick as possible.
As quick as possible.
And the quicker the speed, the more you can expand what you're producing result-wise.
And I started realizing this when I started teaching these classes, bro. And so I believe all industry, business experts, whatever your expertise is, man, go make a YouTube channel, go on podcasts and give the game away. Because if you really are expert at what you do, there's no way you can give all your strategies away in 1 hour.
Yeah.
But what it does is it positions you as an authority. It makes people who do what you do want to come learn from you. So now you can charge for consulting. Then the people who want to buy houses from you, I'm going to go to that guy.
Yeah.
Like it covers so many
Your
bases.
position so well.
Right. And this is why it made it easy for me to go teach these classes and be a personal brand coach, because the people who either own marketing companies or do marketing or whatever, they won't go teach. So to me, it's just like I'm in an industry by myself in this area.
Well, I think you're getting into like from an energetic frequency and a mindset thing, it's like abundance versus scarcity.
Right.
The information isn't like meant to be like held tight on. It's meant to be given out. It's meant to be shared or contributed to others. Because if you truly believe that we're in a space of like infinite resources, then why on earth would you be so like tight? Because it's not about just like you not blessing them, but like when you become that tightness and withholding, you're not operating from the energy of that.
Right.
And now the universe is going to respond to the frequency you're at and give you more of that. Instead of if you're being abundant and you're giving and sharing and contributing, that's your vibrational speak. And like attracts like. That's not something I made up. That's an old universal law. So like attracts like. So if your magnetic energetic frequency is operating from that space of contribution, abundance, sharing, guess what is going to come to you? Right. And that you see that in the other thing I posted about how I bought that house off of your video. That's like a perfect example of like I posted giving you love for your class. And then someone hit me up about a house in the area solely because they saw my post.
And that's not even what when you posted that, you didn't post that to get a lead.
No.
You posted it and be like, man, try to salute somebody. Hey, man, shout out, man. Great class.
Just another entrepreneur pursuing what they're passionate about. And I got legitimate value. Trust me, if the class sucked, there would have been no post.
Right. I mean? And I appreciate that, man. And, dude, I'll share this with you, but it is probably deep, but it's more of like a universal law type of thing. But I really believe in life, bro. Life is nothing but a big input and output chart.
Yeah.
Like, I was telling to my friends, here go the deep part, right? Because if you look at the word attraction, the main word in that is action. If you want to attract more, you have to do more. But it's the actions that you do that attract. Like, I don't believe in luck. I believe in, I call it opportunity creation. Right? Like, your actions that you're doing creates opportunities for you. And those going to meet at one point, and it's going to look like luck, but it's not. Right? Like, if I'm sitting on my butt and I just like, hey, I just want to walk down to the gas station and go get a drink, which has happened to me. I'm walking and now I just found $20. Is that luck? I don't think so. I decided that I'm going to go. I could have drove. I could have did anything, but I decided to go walk, be healthy.
Yeah, because you embodied a mindset, a belief, a way of being, which any type of thought or action, everything is energy at the end of the day. So when you are that, and that's like who you are fundamentally for yourself is somebody that creates their own opportunity, that's going to be a part of your frequency. Yeah. So that means wherever you go, there will be opportunity to present itself. Maybe it's not like everyday thing, but like these random one-off events happen more than one-off. They're like kind of like, oh, that's cool, and I'm not surprised by it anymore because that's who I am for myself in this world, and this is the shit that happens to me.
Yeah, and I believe...
Only because you declared that.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that 100%. Bro, I don't believe in luck. I go out there, and any one of my actions that I decide to do because I made the decision to go produce is going to bring back stuff, and it's not luck. And, like, the people who rely on fortune will be misfortunate. Like, you only rely on luck. It's like, I want to go out here and like, like, let's say for gambling, you putting stuff, you're relying on fortune. You don't know which way it's going to swing.
No skill set.
No skill set required.
Maybe you could count a card or something, like the slots and stuff. Like you legit on a metal pole watching that money down there.
People who go for the big swings with no education, no skill, no none of that, bro, you're relying on luck. And a lot of times you're going to lose more than you're going to win. Right? So I don't rely on luck, man. I go out and I make my own opportunities. Anything that comes from my actions, I produced it. And so that's the way I live. And like the reason I'm even bringing that up is because like anything that happened to you on your journey, I don't think it was luck. We already confirmed it was God stepping in place. But like when you take an action that leads to something that has a really good outcome, it's something that you produce because of a thought to do that action.
Well, Steve Jobs, when he was doing like his one of his speeches or whatever, and he was like, the only way you can connect the dots is by looking backward. You can't look into the future and connect your dots. But it's like when I look back on it, it's like I see how all my dots connected,
Yeah.
bro. Like the guy that got like my mentor that I had my first real estate meeting with was a real estate agent who cold called my mom when I was 6 years old and sold like that house and then like became like the family realtor.
For real.
And it's like, but even, my dad had a business that took off, and that's why we moved into that house. So it's like, you can go back into like other, like past lives of my grandpa's decisions that brought him there to my dad there, and then there into that house. Like, so everything from beginning of time is connected. It's not just what happened in my life, the dots. It's what's happened since Adam and Eve were on this earth as the first two people. Everything has led up to what we're in this conversation right now. But yeah, looking back, it's like, for me and my own things, like the first time I used, and then when I went to school there and did this, and then that, and like how I got into real estate, and then like, I said, God will take the worst thing about you and make it the biggest
thing.
blessing that you got. Because I tell you, I wouldn't appreciate life in 1/100 to the level that I do now, just because I know how low I lived. It's not some like concept of like poverty or like they say animalistic level. Like, no, I've been through that shit for years at a time, and it was a very challenging and like not fun time. And would I change it? Absolutely not, because it's made me who I am. Like the fact that I have a family, bro, is like the biggest like miracle ever. I was like a 30-some-year-old playboy. You know what I mean? Like, no family in sight. Like on the 5-year plan, that shit was not wrote down. But it's like sometimes you gotta like be open to what God has planned for you and get out of your own way and just let those blessings come.
Dude,
stop resisting.
I love that you brought up your family, because that's where I was going. Like, so, your wife, bro, I call y'all the real estate power couple, right? And so, but like, what role has she played in your journey, man? Whether it's been life, real estate, just talk to me about her importance and what she's brought to your life.
So we actually met at our office. Our desks were placed next to each other, and at first it was like she had started like 2 months or something before me, and we were in like what's called a bullpen. So like when you're brand new, you could like pay money to get like your own desk. Otherwise, like you kind of just sit where you can sit, but it's guaranteed you had a spot. So like we're starting every day. We both in there making calls and like hustling, and then like I'll go in there Saturday morning thinking like I'm gonna show up and I do some. There'd be one person in the office before me. It was her. And she got a son and working another job. Like she was a UIC full time. So she's hustling like this in her spare time. And I'm like, damn. But we learned to like, we started like having lunch, and like we were, it just started as a deep mutual respect of like, we both out here grinding and doing the work. And that was it. And then we spend more time, like we get a lunch because we're both there. She actually was living in the town I grew up in, so you're just talking over time. We ended up doing some personal development courses together, and we were like really good friends for a good year and a half. She was coming out of a divorce, and I was in a long-term relationship. There's an age difference. Like it was really more like platonic friendship, like not even thinking of that. And then we started working together. As sales, because we had different like skills, so we saw that like we could do something with that. And then it's like you're just spending so much time around each other. You're building a company together. It started changing, but like,
so who pressed suit, like who pressed suit first? Did you come up to like check this out, girl? I got feelings for you.
Yeah,
like,
how'd that actually go? I think that I was in serious denial for a while.
Okay.
Because I remember like it was there, and we were like kind of like, not to put her business out there, that we were kind of like whatever, and then pretend like nothing happened, but like the feeling kept coming up, so it was like no escaping. And I remember we were like finishing an open house in Addison, and we were like at the end of the driveway, and she like asked me like, what's in your way of just like seeing if this could work. You know.
So she asked you the question
Well,
first.
she's Eastern European, so she got no problem.
Yeah,
Her communication is straight as a bullet. You know.
yeah.
I just remember telling her like, I'm hesitant because I know if I go with you, that's it for me. I knew like everything that I know would be over with.
When you say that, what do you mean? Like
Like
everything?
my single life and like my old ways, and like I wasn't ready to like give that up yet. But we ended up being together, you know, and she's just been like my biggest supporter. You know, she's GC, so she's the general contractor on all our deals. She be running that shit like very effectively and
Yeah.
efficiently. She's you know, we have the coaching and training business we've been putting together in the background. She's highly skilled transformation coach.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, which is a whole other topic, but like outside of that, she's like, I'm always like the visionary and I have great ideas, but I've also lost a lot of money doing like just going off excitement, and like
Yeah.
she kind of like is like riding with me and then kind of like pulls the reins back when we need to slow down, and she'll like bring like the logic into it or like ground us like, hey, let's look at it from a different way to see if this makes sense, you know. But like most importantly, I say she like my biggest supporter. She's pushed me like, I'm in a wealth mastermind now, but I remember like when it was something I wanted to do so bad a few years ago, but it's $1,000 a month, and I remember like at the time it just wasn't really like, didn't really make sense from a financial point, even though like I felt called to do it and like be there, and I knew shit was like, it's kind of like that heart and head battle, you know. And she was just like, I know we don't really have it, but like we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like, I believe in you and what this opportunity is, and like it's what you love doing, because it's all about like wealth building and investing, and as like a realtor, like having your investment business run your sales business and other facets of wealth. But like I was really drawn to that conversation, and she was just like, we'll figure it out. So like she's always supported me. Like, because on my own, I probably wouldn't have just gone. I would have been like justified of like, when the time's right, this and that. Like, you know, we did figure it out.
Yeah.
So she's always been somebody that like has supported me, supported my growth, our growth. We do a lot of development and training together, so we can grow together, which is great. But yeah, she's like very hands-on, but people mostly see me. They don't realize like she's like the magic in the background, like making shit move, be in compliance. Like, because if it was up to me, like just running the show, man, it should be all over the place.
Yeah. You know, so I have a theory. Well, another one of my little deep theories.
Yeah.
But if you want something to come into your life, something has to leave. Like you can't, because you can't do all things. You see what I'm saying? And the Bible said you can't serve two masters, right? So I'm gonna give you an example. Like if you want to have a wife, the hoe's got to leave.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They can't stay around.
Ideally.
You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, or like, man, if you want to go to the gym, junk food, fast food, trash food has to leave.
Yeah,
You know,
lazy habits.
Yeah, so because you can't do two things, you know what I mean? And so like, the reason I laughed when you said like, you knew all that stuff would be up is because like, that's a commitment, but here's
when I knew like who she was and like how she would show up and what we could do together.
Yeah, and the good thing about it is once you agree to sacrifice all the stuff that you have to push out, good things are going to happen, but it's going to be better than the stuff that you were sacrificing.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Like,
it's funny you say that because when we first got together, now like it was like earlier on in the relationship. Like I said, I was like a lifelong bachelor, and I was committed. I was like Jordan Way Haynes. I had the lifetime contract. And I remember like when we got together, I told her like, what's crazy is I'm experiencing more freedom being with just you as one person than the freedom I was of like having like however many people I was talking to at one time and seeing, because you think like you're going to have less freedom because you're committed to one person, but it was like the experience I got from that was the complete opposite of it.
And I just dope that you say that because like for me, me and my wife, we've been together since high school.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what you
So
were saying.
like I don't really know much else. Like, of course,
Yeah.
like when I was younger, I'll be talking to a couple females, but I would always be honest with them, be like, look, I don't really want to like date you. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's like I don't want to be held down. You see what I'm saying?
for
Like that's,
sure.
and then some girls are cool with it, some aren't. When I met my wife, I shook her hand and I fell in love because I knew she was a lady. Like, and I tried to dap her up. She shook
Yeah.
my hand, and then I was like, man, I gotta go. I gotta get correct. I gotta get my stuff together.
Gotta be something different with you.
Yeah, because I was like, man, you must have got you a good mama at home because
Yeah.
she shook my hand. She's like, hello, nice to meet you. But it's like, and I told my wife, she's like, she asked me one time, do you ever think about like, it sucks being with one person or whatever? And I was like, no, because there's something that I think is really great about being able to share all these experiences with one person. All the highs, all the lows, all the arguments or whatever. And I was like, girl, that's first thing. Second thing, I invested so much time in you. I don't even want to go find other people and like relearn them, go through all that stuff. Like, and one dude, I went to a photo booth event one time and it was a billionaire. He was with a B. I'm talking to him. And I was like, man, so let me ask you a question. Like when you became a billionaire, you're a billionaire, whatever, like, what's one of the most important things or most important steps to becoming a billionaire? You know what he told me?
Got a good woman.
Man, what? He said it's more important who you build with than going to go build it. That's what he told me. So he was like, pay attention to who you building with because you guys would do a lot more together. And he's like, and if you decide to leave, then that's a crazy woman. You building the right thing with the wrong person. He said she would tear that shit up. That's what he told me, right? And so he was like, a lot of times behind successful businessmen, if they're married, that woman is doing all the behind the scenes stuff that people don't see.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm out here, I'm networking and stuff like that. My wife is at home with the kids. They got 3.9 GPAs. They go to sleep, they get tucked in. She cooks, she cleans, she does all those things, right? And he was just like, she holds it. They don't pay for a nanny. She is the nanny. They homeschool, And so it's like, you have to pay attention to who you building stuff with, to really get wealth and generational wealth and all that
100%.
stuff. And it's like, man, when he told me, I was like, your wife clean? Yeah, man. They don't pay for a cleaning service. He was like, because he grew up poor. They grew up poor, so they keep the same morals in the house, man. Her family. He said that I think they're also somewhere from Europe and stuff like that, man. So she comes, she cooks big dinners. You know what I mean? She does that. She takes care of the house, and he gonna make all the bread. But it's like, you need a partner, bro. We can talk about wives as like, spouses or whatever, but that's really what they are. They're our partners. And if you find a really great partner and you build something with them over time, man, ain't no telling, y'all can dominate this whole thing, bro. You see what I'm saying? It's like, and it's really good to have a partner that's good at something you're not.
Yeah, I mean, if we're good at the same thing, like, we're just
Right.
going to be on each other's toes. It's like, dude,
For real.
because she's like turning houses out in like 6 to 8 weeks. It would take people 4, 5, 6 months to do. Like, she on that shit.
That's crazy, man.
She's really, really skilled with project management.
Yeah.
And like,
The organization.
that out. Yeah.
Yeah, go hand in hand. So I had 2 more questions, and I know
Yeah.
we'll wrap it up, man. So, first of all, is your mom still around?
Yeah.
Man, have y'all had a conversation of your mom telling you how proud she is of you?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah. I was just texting her this morning. We're going to go to Spain next year together for this. It's like a Camino walk. It's a spiritual experience where some back in the day where like the people would walk from one place to get to. I'm not too sure, but I know now it's like a real spiritual experience. You're walking a good amount of time. You can do it for up to like 45-day experience, but they've kind of like, you can pick like what option, but we both wanted to do it for a while. She was going to go this year. She changed it. So she's like, would you go with me next year? I was like, hell yeah.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, I just talked to her today.
Dude,
Seen her for the holidays, of course.
Dude, I was gonna say, cause like
Seen her last Friday too.
last Friday.
Yeah.
Dude, bro, shout out to your moms, man, for really, like you said, standing in your corner, and being that one person that didn't give up on you. Constantly having the conversations. Cause man, I tell you what, bro, like you need one person in your corner, like
That's all it takes.
that's all it takes.
Now, I'm not saying like everyone was like, screw that dude, but they kind of just got tired of messing with me. Like, I'm not saying like my brother and other family still didn't love me and like want what's best, but I'll say like my mom was proactive, like
Right.
hands on with this shit, like dealing with my BS, and like she the one getting the call when I OD and I'm at the hospital, you know, like. So she was just there, but yeah, when you have one person, that's
Yeah.
all it takes. Like we talked offline, about the power of belief and how it can be transmitted onto somebody else. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, what if we can be that one person for someone in our life? I would just invite people to see like who's that person they can be. It doesn't have to be drugs. Someone might have a career of having a media company, and people say it's far fetched and you're crazy and this, that, and the other. But you could be that person where it's like, nah, bro, you got passion, you got skill, and you got work ethic. Like,
Yeah.
you can figure this shit out, and like, just be that support for them. Because a lot, if they, you just never know, because what's it cost you to believe in somebody?
Right.
It's
Right.
just thinking. You don't actually have to like go be anywhere, do it. It's just a thought and then conversing with them, and it might show up as action like support or
Yeah.
go to here and there, but at the end of the day it's just what you believe in, and like that's no different. You're believing in something one way or another, so why not believe in them then against them?
That's actually, it's in the Bible. It's a story, and I'm gonna butcher this, so all the Jesus heads
Yeah, don't come at me.
don't be coming for me. But I remember hearing one time in a podcast, basically a guy was sick or paralyzed. He was going through something, right? And his friends brought him to Jesus, and Jesus looked at the faith in his friends, and he healed the man. So it's like he looked at the belief in them
Yeah.
and healed them anyway. Belief is powerful, bro, and you only need one person in your corner. And and sometimes, like, we're getting on this social media stuff, we look at all the followers and stuff like that. This is why, like, I never let it get to my head, because I got like this 3.5 thousand friends on Facebook or whatever, right? Dude, none of them motherfuckers was hitting me up when I was sleeping in my car.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, when I go to these networking events and women, they come up, oh, hey, say la, whatever. Bro, it's like, to me, I'm not fazed by any of that stuff. It's because y'all wasn't hitting up my phone
Yeah.
when I was getting blackballed and I was broke and sleeping in a car. My wife was. So I don't even focus on any of that stuff. It's, like, so once you start building success, people are gonna come around. My football coach told me one time, he was like, man, just know the mosquitoes come out when the lights is on.
Yep.
Meaning, like, because I skipped practice, I was talking to this little cheerleader or whatever, and he caught me. And he was like, man, when you first moved here, before you started making plays and starting and stuff, she wasn't worried about you. So the mosquitoes come out when the lights is on. They're gonna suck you dry. So when you start getting that success and all this other stuff, man, just remember people who was in your corner, who
Yeah,
supported
dude,
you.
it's so true. Like, that's one thing I really appreciate about Alexandra. Like, first she was there for me, like, when neither of us had shit, So it's like,
Right, yeah.
man, you like me through this,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It can't be the money. It can't
yeah.
be all this stuff.
I
She loved me. He
remember
had
even,
nothing.
like, when I bought that Kia Forte for 10 grand on the 25% interest rate.
Yeah.
Dude, she, like, we went out to celebrate dinner, and like when I picked her up, she had on like this baller ass fucking mink coat and
Yeah.
like cocktail dress, high heels, and we went up to I don't think it's open anymore, but it was the Hancock Building, the 95th floor in the city for dinner to celebrate, and it was like. Because that car wasn't about how much it was. Like I said, it was the journey of like self-sufficiency. And she allowed me to like pick her up in that like shitty ass car and like her looking like $1 million
Yeah.
and some expensive shit looking fine as hell. And like be just so happy for me that like she knew what that car meant for me on my journey. And it was like, yeah, that's the shit that like I remember. That's the good shit.
Yeah, that's what's
those
up.
early days.
Yeah. So last question, bro. If you could look at Andrew when he was 11, and you could say something to yourself, bro, what would you go back and say?
Such a good question. So I've done a similar exercise through our release technique because a lot of times people forgive everyone but themselves. But what I always tell my younger self is like, you're so courageous and you don't even know what you're going to go up against, but you're going to go through it. It's going to be hard, but you're going to come out of it a better person, and everything's going to be all right. You're going to be closer to God. You're going to have meaning in your life, even if you don't have it now. You're going to be able to make a difference for a lot of people. So, like, I always thank him for doing the hard part, because I'm doing the easy part now. I'm just having fun. Like, life is play for me. There's, like, real conversations and real shit that got to happen, but, like, this ain't hard compared to, like, figuring out how you get through your day with $15 and shit. Like, that ain't hard. That was hard. So I'm like, thank you for going through all the hard shit so I don't have to.
Right.
And for putting this version of myself in the position I'm in, because I couldn't be who I am now without the recovery piece and without bringing God in. But that's only there because of the shit you're about to step into. So don't be discouraged. Stay strong, and thank you. And I'll make you proud, because I want you to go through all that shit for nothing.
Right. Yeah, man, bro. Man, first of all, I know we cheers into some water.
Man. Yeah.
But, man, bro, congratulations, because that's what this podcast is about, man. It's about, really celebrating people's journeys, celebrating their wins. And I just want to let you know, because this is something that we do on the show.
Okay.
Man, you are a champion, bro.
I appreciate it.
And now,
so are you.
I appreciate it, man, And so now you're a member of the Champions Club.
Right on.
Because I'm building a community, bro. Like,
love it.
You're a member of the Champions Club, and once a member, always a member. And so congratulations on your journey, on your success in real estate.
You,
and then also, man, of a decade of being clean, bro. A decade and more, man. So, bro, I love your drive, your hustle. And people that's going to watch this story, bro, you're going to change their lives, man. So, congratulations,
appreciate
dog.
that. If even one person gets something out of it, it's worth doing.
Dude.
So thank you for having me on. I had a great time.
Man, of course, bro. You already
knew
know
that was going to happen.
Yeah,
but,
man.
We always talk, so this was great.
Dope, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you for having me on.
Thank
you, man. Thank you, bro. That's a wrap, man.
It's a wrap, baby.
Great conversation, dog. I'm telling you, bro, that's going to be